another Excadrill Senti matchup.
Well, what's wild about that? At first, it's we've seen bench barrier Mew kind of fall out of favor in a lot of decks because it never really seemed particularly relevant in most matchups. Cramorant really being the best way or the only real way to hit into the bench. But that Excadrill deck is definitely one that wants to say, I need that bench barrier. That spit shot is devastating to my strategy. And we saw it come down on the bench game 2 and game 3 to really limit the options that Cramorant would have otherwise to take some big knockouts there. So we're going to see Excadrill again against Centiskorch VMAX again. And let's see if we can find any differences in some deck lists here between these two. Nicola, there's Nicola.
Oh, that's a Centiskorch Silvally from Edwin. Edwin is playing Centiskorch Silvally, a deck that Philip Schulz created. One day he wakes up, he was like, guys, I guess I broke Centiskorch, I guess I broke the meta. I was like, what is this? And then Philip showed the team we have, like with Robin, with with me and stuff. He showed us the deck, and we didn't believe at the first time. I was like, we're gonna try. I tried a deck in a tournament with 400 player. I started playing at midnight. I finished the tournament at 7 a.m., but I finished winning the tournament with that Centiskorch Silvally version, giving you the comeback scenario with Silvally, because Centiskorch has a problem that is a stamp, but you solve this stamp problem with a Silvally drawing card. So definitely, I'm happy to see that the Centiskorch Silvally version that Philip created some weeks ago in the finals. And it's going to be really interesting to see, because the Mallow Lana could be really, really important in these finals, because healing the damage you get done by the Scadrill, it probably changed the price rate for one turn, and you can even repeat that with Eldegos. Eldegos recovering the Marulana could be actually the key of the matchup.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the list as well. As you mentioned, that Silvally GX, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the disc reload ability, kind of familiar to Octillery's Abyssal Hand that draws you back up to 5 cards. So, again, just an important strategy has always been insulating yourself against formerly end, now reset stamp, and making sure that later in the game that you still have the opportunity to draw into, have the best odds to draw into those cards that you need to close the door. Something that we saw Nicola craft meticulously in his top 4 match, and I can't imagine that we won't see him do it again. Important to note, if I'm not mistaken, Silvally GX is fighting weak. So although that deck, Centiskorch VMAX, is not playing as many Dedenne and Crobats that are weak to fighting, one of its key draw facilitators is a multi-prize Pokemon, and it is weak to fighting. So that's going to be an interesting dichotomy in this matchup as well.
Yep, because it's like, all right, maybe you want to try to avoid to put Silvally in play, because it's a great catcher of not only boss. You can be a great catcher because Silvally is a GX, it's an old card in the format now. So the Dennis and Grand Silvallis are getting knocked out in one hit by Excadrill. So you maybe try to think, all right, should I play this matchup? Try to avoid to bench the Dennis or Silvally. It's probably going to depend on the hands, right? The hands that the Edwin has in that finals, they will probably decide between, all right, should I bench Silvally? Should I bench the Dennis? Should I try to avoid it? Because if you can avoid it, you either go Volcanion and double Centico VMAX and spam Marulana. But sometimes you need that draw acceleration by the Dennis or Silvalis. So maybe you just need to try to do it if your hands are not great, and then you will see a possible interaction between that great catchers, that bosses, trying to get the price rate. And I'm watching now that Edwin plays two reset stamp, what could be crucial, but as we saw so far, the Nicola every time he's getting stamped, it's like, I have 2 cards in the deck, 3 cards in the deck. I'm gonna draw the entire deck with Oricorio. So it's a stamp proof that late game for sure.
Now, Open Decklist does provide an interesting opportunity for Edwin here, and I say that because we just discussed, hey, Silvally GX keeps you reset stamp proof, gets that hand size back up off of a reset stamp in the late stages of the game. But an studious person will take a look at Nicola's list and realize that he's not playing reset stamp. So maybe you can just, like you said, unless their hand is just completely crippled and unable to function, maybe you just kind of stay completely away from the Silvally GX and you say, I'm just going to play this like a traditional send a Scorch deck, lean into my heavy Pokemon, take advantage of the fact that I do have less Dedenne, less Crobat, make you work through these huge chunky Pokemon, and then just blow you out with a key Malolana and just kind of clear the damage off the board and take the wind out of your sails. So I'm excited. I hope they're taking a good long look at each other's deck lists, crafting up some good game plans. And I think we're going to be on Edwin's side of the board here for these finals. We are not going to be on Edwin's side of the board for these finals. We are going to be on Nicola's side of the board for these finals. I immediately apologize for just throwing that arbitrarily out there. That's why you need to confirm things before you speak. But what's that going to lead us to? It's going to lead us to watching the clinic of this Excadrill deck happen yet again.
Yep, and it's really important that the damage you need with the fire with Sandiscore is only 3 fires, so you only need the welder plus attachment to actually KO Excadrill because you hit 160 damage and Excadrill is 150. So actually you only need that 3 fires in Sandiscorch to KO a possible Excadrill. So you don't need more than 2 welders the entire game. So definitely it could be interesting if we see Edwin trying to avoid to bench the Dene or trying to avoid to bench Silvally if possible, because it's free prices for the opponent. But sometimes you can't control that. Sometimes you need to quick ball for the Dene or for Crobat. And that opens a possibility for Nicola for winning easier, because Nicola thin the deck really, really good, and you can normally find easily the great catchers of the boss when you need it. So definitely the putting pressure with the Sandiscore with 3 fires is going to be really important. And the Marulana, if both players draws well, the Marulana will be probably the crucial card, plus the Eldegos recovering it for a possible, game-changing matchup with this, 1 price against 3 price attacker. We will see.
So we are at finals time. We both said open agility. We really liked their playstyle on top 8. Didn't quite shake out for them top 4. Scorch VMAX makes its way to the finals. We both wanted Excadrill. We both picked Excadrill. Excadrill is in the finals, and we're seeing a repeat of the top 4 match we just watched. Looking at these deck lists here, is anything you see in the deck lists changing where you stand at who's going to win? My heart still is pulling for Excadrill, but that Malolana I think is there to haunt all day long.
Yep, definitely. I definitely think like the Mimikyu, I'm actually checking the Mimikyu of Nicola. All right, so actually I just saw the Mimikyu from Nicola. I thought it was the anti-Mewtwo, but it's the Mimikyu that you can actually play against Marulana. So if I'm not wrong, the Marulana effect doesn't work against Mimikyu because you heal the damage when you are in the bench. So actually, I guess the interaction between Marulana and Mimikyu, you cannot heal with Marulana if the opponent has Mimikyu in field, because the Marulana interaction in TCG, I mean in Pokemon in general, is you switch your Pokemon and then you heal in the bench. So I guess I already saw the Mimikyu. I guess that's the purpose of Mimikyu, to avoid the Marulana. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if Nicola can actually manage the board to have that double drill board in play, plus double Dedenne, plus Oricorio, plus a possible Mimikyu. It's gonna be really rough to have a really good bench spot, because you definitely need that Mimikyu to avoid the Marulana spam. But yeah, as we saw these games in the top 4, you always have like 2 Dedennes and Noricori in play. So that's only opens 2 spots in the bench that you need double drill board, and you need that Mimikyu. So a possible starting with like Mew or Fione, could probably struggle to have your bench filled with that Mimikyu. But definitely Mimikyu is probably the 2 crucial cards of this matchup. If the Marulana is priced or not, and if Mimikyu is priced or not, it's going to be probably super, super relevant to see. And if Edwin see the Mimikyus in the field, you can also boss this Mimikyu, forcing the opponent to find a rod to recover Mimikyu, and then you try to actually Marulana after kill the Mimikyu. So it's going to be really interesting to see how both players manage to try his best in these finals.
Yeah, crafting a window to use Malolana could definitely be an interesting take here. And another interesting flexing point of this matchup is obviously the bench space for Nicola, but they might want that Mew on the bench as well, because Edwynt does play Cramorant, so putting a lot of stress from different directions, including Malolana and the Cramorant spit shot. So Edwynt is on the bubble. I was right the first time, got corrected to be wrong, but that turns out I was right all along. So
you always right, bro. You always right.
Oh, well, let's calm down with all that. But we are watching from Edwin's side of the board. So Excadrill is going to be on the backside here, leading with the Hapu. 2 cards going to go to the hand, the rest going to go into the discard, and we don't have the advantage of seeing them sculpt their turns out now. So I would like to say it's a bunch of guesswork, but I think that just gets us into some dangerous waters. So maybe we let the Excadrill player develop their board and we just follow along. Step 1, Drillbur. Step 2, energy on Drillbur. Now we're going for a quick ball. Oricorio hits the bin because you got one in play and you play 4 Ordinary Rod. You're going to see it again if you want it. Let's see where Nicola goes with this quick ball. Possibly a Dead change? All right. So we lost Pedro for a moment. We'll get them back on as soon as possible. This quick ball is on the button, and it is a long decision here. Now, we discussed Type Null going into Silvally GX being a fighting weak Pokemon. So that might be an important thing for Nicola to eye down as this matchup progresses, to use 11th Hour Tackle or even a Drill Bazooka to take a quick knockout and some easy prizes. Quick Ball 1 gets a Drillbur. Quick Ball 2 throws away the ever-important Ordinary Rod as Martial Arts Dojo comes down, and a clean Dedenne for 6 cards as their board continues to develop here in the finals of the Limitless Online Series. Major number 1 brought to you by Potown Store.
For 120 damage this Oricorio. So if you attach an amulet, you're actually giving 1 prize. Well, it's going to be a really interesting interaction if you attach or not this amulet, giving 1 prize immediately or not, because I guess that Edwin is going to hit with the Sense score for 120. And is debating probably if he should go to evolve this type null yet or not, because you probably, if you don't need anything more 1 turn, why you should continue. Well, that's the Silvally. But as I said, probably sometimes when you don't need anything more a turn, you probably just wait to bench a possible target that you can get great catch at it. That's the Silvally drawing only 2 cards. I probably just want to hit for 120 this turn.
Yeah, hitting for 120, like you said, Island Challenge Amulet will obviously knock that Oricorio out, but we just spoke a lot about bench space. So there might be an opportunity where, hey, I'm going to sandbag the Challenge Amulet until I need that bench spot. And yes, I'll give you a prize just so I can get down one of my utility Pokemon, another Drillbur, maybe play another Dedenne or what have you. So something to keep in mind there, that Nicola can actually strategically use that to their advantage as a way to mitigate the one resource we keep harping on, and it's that bench space. Cherish Ball going to jump into the deck, and we're grabbing a Dedenne GX. And are we going to dig further? Are we just going to bin these welders? Yes, we are.
Yep, and as we said before, Nicolas has now double dribble in play, Oricorio, Dedenne, and Mew. So if you actually want to bench that Mimikyu for a possible Marulana, you are not able to bench another Oricorio or another Dedenne for thinning the deck to get the cards you need. So that's why the bench space is it becomes a problem now probably for Nicola, because he already has the double dribble, the Mew, the Dedenne Oricorio, and you probably need to bench another Oricorio or the Dedenne, but then you can't bench Mimikyu anymore. So that's going to be interesting to see. And definitely Edwin, don't care too much right now about the great catchers. He just bench Silvally, he just bench the Dedenne, trying to go fast, trying to attack fast, and try to decide, all right, if you get the great catchers and boss, plus the energy, plus the schedule every turn, all right, but I guess I'm going all in, try to set up the Sentinel VMAX until you can, until it's get knocked out. And Edwin just was like, all right, I'm gonna bench Silvally, I'm gonna bench Dedenne. I know it's out for great catcher, I know it's out for boss, but I'm going all in and try to set up another Sentinel VMAX for next turn too. And the Marulana could be super relevant after no Mimikyu in the bench yet.
That's a great point, but there is a quick ball here, so if it's in the deck, Nicola does have the opportunity to get it down. And
right.
Almost as if predicting the future here in the booth, Mimikyu that has the ability to stop the heals with a Z. We see the hard retreat and Drillbur into the active. Mimikyu hasn't hit the bench quite yet because we're getting rid of it. Maybe we're doing the Ordinary Rod Island Challenge Amulet, buy a spot, quick ball, put it back down, quick ball, all four were used, just saw that. So maybe Mimikyu's just out of the equation. Maybe Nicola didn't see that Malolana, or just doesn't think it's relevant. They say, I see a Volcanion, I see a Dedenne, I see a Silvally GX. I'm going to start trying to chip through those, or at least, hey, one Scorch, and two, try and get you down before you heal. And that's Silvally GX, not long.
Exactly. As we were saying, right? Edwin decided to bench Silvally. Probably you didn't need to bench it. Sometimes you want to play your deck as you always play it in every matchup, but sometimes you need to think about how you manage every matchup, how you manage the schedule matchup. So probably the win condition of a schedule is try to go and kill that Silvalis and the Dennis with great catches and bosses. So I guess as long as you don't need the Silvally, you probably try to keep it in hand or try to not bench it. But well, now he was kind of punished. 4 prize remaining for Nicola. But now this end Discord probably gonna evolve into the VMAX and try to just attacks between both Sendisco VMAX. The problem with that is that now Edwin has no supporter, no welder, no stadium. So this price is to be really good to try to survive for next turn a possible a possible double attack of Excalibur. So we'll see the price.
The prize is one
Right.
worth.
That could be fine, right? Well, a possible welder could be fine.
Oricorio going to be able to draw 3 here. Island Challenge Amulet on a Dedenne. Another Drillbur down. So we're missing Excadrill and we're missing Energy with a 19 card deck, and that is pre-Oricorio. So great ball. Grabs Fion with the Whirlpool Suction. Already had the Energy in hand. Is Oricorio going to have to go all in for draw 3, get Excadrill? Question mark.
Yeah, that Great Ball before Oricorio was kind of interesting. I would probably just Oricorio first and then Great Ball, but now never punish it as the Excadrill to hit 150 damage. And the Marnie actually helping so much to Edwin. That's really important. How the Marnie is going to help Edwin, because Edwin has a dead hand. There was definitely literally nothing. And that boss or even Cherish Ball for the Dene could be the possible relevant play. Or trying to just Dene into Malolana will be really important, because there is no Mimikyu in play. There is no Mimikyu in play. And you maybe debate between, all right, should I kill the Scadrill? Should I kill something that gives to price? What?
Whoa.
I don't know if it was a misclick or was, I don't know, but that was 30 damage.
I'm not too sure what happened there. Did Nicola misclick? Or there might be an option where the 11th hour tackle, which they went for there, if they went for the drill bazooka, they'd get rid of too many resources because there's only 3 rods are already gone.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Nicola is saying, like, I can't overcommit to this, otherwise I'm just going to lose the game on that angle alone and not even give my chance to finish here. Edwin, seeing that, hey, I'm going to use this boss while I've got it. I'm going to get my 2 prizes before an Island Challenge Amulet gets picked up by that. And that's a quick knockout and 2 prizes. And Edwin says, like, hey, deal with this,
Another boss. Yeah, definitely Nicola in a complicated spot now. That Sentinel going to knock out the Dene. As you said, 3 rods already in the discard pile. That's the Valpat recovering probably some Marnies, maybe, some boss in this case. Trying to go for the, all right, quick way, trying to kill the Dene. But how Nicola is going to take the last 2 or the last 3 prizes is going to be really complicated, because, well, that's another drill board, but as you said, it's kind of risky to go for the 150 now, because you are through 3 rods. So definitely now this research probably you just need to go all in, then to hit for 150. That's the Ricorio. Oh, and now we can see that attack, instead of hitting 30, now is hitting 180 for sure.
Yep, exactly. But we can easily see how Edwin's closing this game out is mapped out, right? Boss on Oricorio next turn, easy knockout, and then you literally just have to hit through anything else that's presented in front of you. It's really on to Nicola to stress, put the stress back on Edwin, and I just don't see how they do that, especially with the chip shot of 30 damage before. But great catcher coming into the mix, and maybe we're going to grab the Dedenne and just get ourselves some more prizes, more resources, and digging for maybe that fourth ordinary rod or something like that.
Yeah, and now I guess as you said, probably boss is kind of game, right? Probably boss is kind of close game one because you can Oricorio and whatever happens next turn, you just knock out for games. So probably I will just boss the Oricorio probably, right? Seems like a GG position because this Sentiscore next turn is gonna knock out everything in the active. It's gonna knock out Excadrill, the Dene Oricorio. So this probably is Tam trying to be safe.
Yeah.
Probably just gonna giant her to thin the deck, but this seems like a checkmate position. While where you are gonna just knock out this Oricorio and whatever Pokemon goes to the active position, you just knock it out next turn. And there is no way for Nicola to actually hit 320 damage in one turn.
Yeah, I mean, that reset stamp off the top, I don't think changed how Edwin was going to approach the turn, but it certainly was what made him feel incredibly confident in that. Not only pulling up Oricorio, which is the Excadrill's way of digging into their deck to get those final cards they need, not only taking away a card advantage engine, but also taking that big hand they have, giving them 2 cards and saying, okay, deal with this, 320. I know you can't hit that. And I know now you're fighting from behind. And as you mentioned, a true checkmate position that Edwin was able to put Nicola in there. Now,
Yeah.
Edwin likes to go second. We know that Nicola likes to go first. Roles reversed in that particular matchup. Maybe the Silvally, the type null Silvally engine calling our traditional ideas into question there. But we know Nicola's going first here, so he can evolve into Excadrills and start putting some pressure on.
Yeah, this game one actually really interesting to see how going Silvally and then going all in, even if this was 4 easy price for Excadrill, the game changed completely, I guess, at the time that the 3 rods were so early. That 3 rods were so early in the discard pile, what caused the probably the loss to Excadrill that early because Sentiscore with 320 HP, you not be able to actually hit 2-hit KO because you have no more rods, was probably the game changing in that game one. So now we're gonna see actually a hit run active, what is really cool because if you hit a welder, you can actually 130 and take the first prize into that dribble, and then try to go Sensico Max as the same game plan. So it's gonna be really interesting if this quick ball goes for us type null to try to use the same strategy, going quick ball for a type null and then cherish ball for a Silvally, what is actually an amazing hand. Probably trying to dig for the welder with the Crobat is kind of risky because Crobat is weakness to fighting for a possible Excadrill attack, but maybe you going for it. If you're going all in and you go for it, you just, all right, I'm gonna use this quick ball, probably bench the type null, probably bench Anti-Scorch, attach a fire, Crobat. If I hit a welder, I win a lot of tempo in the game because if no more drill boards, or if only one drill board, you actually put a lot of pressure, KO this drill board turn one if a welder shows up.
If I can take you back in time for just a moment, we saw an aggressive Heatran GX play happen in top 4 against Nicola, getting rid of a lone Drillbur. And that didn't quite pan out for Espinola in top 4. So something to be wary of, that although it seems like a great board advantage type situation, it might not just be the nail in the coffin that these Centiskorch VMAX deck think it is. So it would be interesting to see how that plays out as Nicola continues to develop their board on their first turn.
All right, and that's the welder top deck. Oh my god, that's the welder top deck. Amazing hand, probably the dream hand for a possible finals game 2 to try to close this series. And that's at the end you maybe don't even want to put in field. You can just go quick ball for type null, try to keep the hand, bench a Scorch. But this 130 is gonna actually knock it out. The dream is this is the dream hand of a welder deck, as we said. When welder draws decent or welder draws well, that's actually insane. That's actually amazing how you can actually, win some games or just having a lot of advantage in the game because Centiscore later in the late game, Centiscore is actually an amazing VMAX Pokemon because it's the only VMAX, I guess, that you can one hit KO everything. It depends on your energies in play, right? And you can one hit KO everything, even if the opponent has so many HP. And you normally survives a lot of hits. You survive Sassian attack, you survive Eternatus attack, but you are able to actually one hit KO everything. What is the magic of the Centiscore deck?
One thing you mentioned is the Heatran GX, putting pressure on. Now, Edwin can take a lot of solace in the fact that Nicola is not going to have that 11th hour tackle ready to go next turn. And to take a one-hit knockout on that Heatran, you need Martial Arts Dojo, and you need to be able to use the 11th hour tackle. So that Heatran is sitting very comfortable in the active. Maybe we're going to see just a Burning Road GX to take the knockout so we can start building some energy on a Center Scorch V on the bench. I don't mind that play quite that much. But the key difference between this game and the game last round, where Espinola went for the aggressive play with the Heatran onto Drillbur, is that Edwin has other stuff going on, which is important, that you make those tempo plays, but also be able to follow up and keep that pressure on. Over to Nicola, and we have a great ball. I apologize. Didn't mean to cut you off there. And I can only imagine that we're looking to get another Drillbur and an Excadrill into play.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I will probably just go 130, right? Because as you said, it's really important. Probably Edwin didn't realize that the Excadrill can't 190 you next turn because the entire deck is still, you can't deck out in turn 2. So actually, I guess I want to point out that probably 130 was better because then you can GX the Excadrill with the 3 energy. So probably that GX was fine to take a price, but I will probably just go for the 130, kill the Drillbur, and next turn we can GX and kill the future Excadrill turn 2, and then is the when you're going Centiscore VMAX for the late game, right?
No, that's a great point. That's a great point. Perhaps a bit of a misstep. We'll see if Nicola can punish that assortment of energy that found their way onto the board. And now a Whirlpool Suction going to pull up the Centiscorch V into the active. So at least now Nicola's hitting into something that they're going to have to hit in twice later anyways. Now that Heatran late game becomes more of a liability, and the fact that Nicola doesn't have to punch into it quite yet is a good sign for them. Drillbur coming down, Excadrill evolving, and another Fighting Energy. So we've got a backup attacker almost ready to go, and a Professor's Research going to keep them digging through their deck as they get ready to announce a Drill Bazooka, or if they can stretch the resources far enough, an 11th hour tackle. I think we're just going to see the Drill Bazooka personally.
Yeah, it looks like that. Exactly. The Drill Bazooka hitting for 120. And now, discarding a rod. That's always happening. I don't know how, but in this top 4 and finals, the Excadrill deck, sadly, discarding so many rods with the attack. What is probably the most important card in the matchup, right? To save the rods is the only card you want to save as much as you want, because you want to put Toricorius, the Dennis, or even spamming Excadrill attacks. But in this top 4 and finals, this Excadrill just hitting all the rods to the discard pile is kind of unfortunate. And now we will see if this quick ball goes for probably another Sentia, Fione, Volcano. There is plenty of options. Even Cramoran is a good option. That's a Fione, probably gonna Crobat for 5 cards, trying to find Malulana, Fire, Welder, something to continue attacking.
How about none of those things? One Fire Energy can at least attach somewhere, maybe the Heatran. That now it's even more important to see, like, hey, that Heatran having 3 energy might have been a little bit more relevant than we thought it would have been at that current point in time. In a tough spot and in an interesting one, Edwin is here deciding if they're going to use a Fione to Whirlpool Suction. Seems like that's going to be an option. Hope that their opponent maybe puts up a Pokemon that is less than desirable, and they say, yeah, have this Dedenne GX and take your 1 prize. I don't care. And even then, I can manually attach and hard retreat it into one of my other attackers. A key component of Nicola's deck is everything retreats aside from the attackers for 1 energy.
Exactly, and now we can see a Centiscore knockout the Dedenne, I guess, and Centiscore should be able to survive because Centiscore has 200 HP. And Excadrill can't knock out the Centiscore VMAX next turn. So actually, I guess going for a VMAX play makes sense because we need to remind, even if it's not showing up in TCGO, you need to click on the amulet, but because if not, you probably still think the Dedenne has 160 HP, but if you click on the Dedenne, it shows it has 100 less HP. I think this TCG Online should be able to market it like clear way that you can actually check it out without checking the Dedenne. But yeah, that's a Centiscore VMAX attack, hitting the damage, exactly, knockouts, and taking 1 prize because it's Amulet. And now this Pokemon probably gonna save an out. Oh, that's an amazing price, right?
So now Nicola needs to stretch and stress all the way down and try and get into that 11th hour tackle here to hit for 180. And well, that's actually too short. That's not enough.
Yeah, it's 10 short with the dojo. It's not even enough. Exactly, exactly.
Dojo, it's 10 short. Wow. So this Malolana is going to come into play and really throw a wrench into Nicola's plans. Let's see what happens here. This is very interesting and might just be down to the razor wire. And then Malolana plucked off the prizes.
Yeah, as we said before, this game too is really interesting how Edwin is playing. Edwin is playing in an insane, really good way because there is no Silvally. There is no dead in play. He's taking prizes without that help. And that forced Nicola to throw with that dead the great catcher, what was two easy prizes for Excadrill. So that's the importance of saving your resources and use your resources if you need them. So far, Edwin didn't need any Dedenne or any Silvally to continue the game. So far, he's doing really well. He took two prizes. This set is going to survive another extra turn, and that forced Nicola to actually research or Dedenne the great catchers. And now, without great catchers in play, all the great, I guess one is in the discard pile, but with only one great catcher remaining or maybe zero, now there is more likely you can actually Dedenne or Silvally later because there is only one recatcher remaining. So the Mimikyu coming for the Marulana, that was insane to see because now Marulana can't heal the damage of Centiscore, but still you can change that attacker with the Marulana with no healing cards. But the problem of using the GX of Hydro on turn 1 instead of a 130 attack is that you can't knock out Excadrill now with Hydra. That's super important that Excadrill survived the Storming Storm for Hydra. That's why probably I still think attacking with the normal attack was better because now the Centiscore in the bench has no energies, to follow up a possible attacker. And that's the second great catcher, all right, going for the Hydra. So there is no more great catchers in the deck. So now Nicola needs 3 cards or less in the deck plus the dodge in play to do the exactly 190. So I
All right.
guess he needs to thin the deck a little more for a
Island
possible knockout. We will see.
just
And
has,
that's not enough.
has to drill bazooka. Yeah, true 60. I'm trying to look. Is our next play Mew? Like we have a Mew option here, reset stamp.
Oh, Stamp wins the game. Stamp wins the game. Oh my goodness. Stamp wins the game and wins the finals. Oh my god.
Oh, what a wild way to finish.
No one saw this play, only the player. Deserved finals. Deserved winner. We have a winner. We have a champion.
Have a winner. Edwin wins with Centiscorch VMAX Silvally GX. Holy smokes. Just a reset stamp on the top. And you saw the pause, and we're all just like, oh, we're a reset stamp. Yeah, well, 6 prizes left, 1 card left in deck. Pack it up, pack it in. Unconventional way to win. Who would have thought Centiscorch VMAX winning the finals by deck out?
Yep, an amazing finals. And yep, the importance of using your cards when you only need them. You don't need Silvally, you don't need the Dene. You can play your outs with your Hitran and Sensiko VMAX. Don't bench anything you don't need in field. That's something a lot of players do. You see a Dene shining in your hand, you see a Silvally shining in your hand, you bench it. But if you can avoid it, you actually winning that game too, thanks to that, because Nicola had 2 great catchers in the 2 last turns, but no targets to try to win that 2 prizes. And that was super important. How exactly thin the deck, thin the deck, thin the deck. Centiscore surviving big hits, Hitran surviving big hits. And then it's like, all right, I'm going to count how many cards you have in the deck. 1. How many cards you have in the hand? 4. Prize remaining. All right, it's time for the epic win. Let's go.
Basic math does check out. Congratulations to Edwin on their big win using Centiscorch VMAX. And tip of the cap to Nicola taking Excadrill all the way to the finals. You got to be impressed by that as well. That deck was a lot of fun to watch. Real quick, I'm going to take a look at Connor. Do you want me to close this thing out? Is that where we're at? Thumbs up on that. So that's what we're going to do. On behalf of the Limitless team, the Limitless Online series brought to you by the Potown Store. Major number 1 is in the books. Edwin is your winner. Nicola falling just behind in second with Excadrill. Kirk Dupes, Snacks Dubé, pleasure to be here again. Peace, love, and hugs. Alongside Pedro Sinichi Torres. Follow him on Twitter at Sinichi, the best guy in the game. Union Cup creator. Peace, love, and hugs. We'll catch you later. Be safe out there, and we'll catch you next time.